Good morning, Sally.
Good morning, Thomas.
And this is Thomas and Sally's World, a conversation show about reselling. And today we are going to be talking about hiring, particularly alternate, different methods of hiring for your reselling business.
You mean like taking advantage of your relatives to have them work for free?
I do have my mom come and help me whenever she wants to.
That's a mom's job. I am currently sitting in the senior center at Idaho Springs, Colorado, and it is one of the neatest places. I'm going to show you something I particularly like here.
Wait, Sally, would I be allowed to go there?
No.
Why not?
Because you're not age appropriate. This is their marijuana growing station.
So hilarious.
Yeah, it's right next to the coffee maker and the American flag. The reason we were talking about hiring practices is because at some point, all of us fantasize about having someone work for us and do the stuff that we don't want to do.
And I need to hire another person. So
yeah, that's true. You actually need two people, don't you?
Two people. We had
one to get your coffee.
Some unintentional layoffs. Exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like you're going to need to hire right away.
The answer is yes. I need to hire immediately.
How do you generally approach hiring? What do you do? Do you write an ad? What do you do?
So my initial thought is just to use something like Indeed. But if you have some other thoughts, that'd be really great.
When we were hiring for different companies, Indeed was a place we went for a non-entry level job, somebody looking for a career. We actually got our best results doing a Craigslist with some caveats there.
I always think this is probably the hardest part. So posting where you post stuff is significant, but I think what we're going to get into now is the really important.
We have been talking about some non-traditional hiring areas. For example, I have family members who are autistic, and they are the very best workers, especially in an environment that a lot of people don't like, which is our environment of work by yourself. We used to have, I've lived a million lives, but we used to have a packaging company. And the best workers we had were those who were not necessarily suited for a mainstream job. They had, maybe some language issues, but man, I'll tell you, we never had such dedicated workers as those who realize you've gone out a little bit for them and they're going to go out for you. So it's certainly worth looking at. You might check out the senior areas, because there are a lot of people with Bill Musamichi, for example. His rate was, I don't know how much it was an hour. I don't even know, but it was a lot. And here he is, sound mind and body, and he's still available to do things. So check senior centers, check in small niches like the autism spectrum, check people with disabilities, and there's always going to be an organization that wants to make that work. And another thing is call workforce services. And they may have people who are getting unemployment who have some physical limitations and are desperately looking for work. And again, they want this to work. There are a number of groups that deal with either finding appropriate work for people with some physical limitations. And there's another group finding appropriate work for people that are somewhere on the autism spectrum. And the thing it is that you can, these are friendly fire people. It's not the government who's going to say, wait a minute, you got to do this. But what they want to do is find jobs for people and have them be successful. So they kind of have a stake in the game of making sure they don't send you clients that are not capable of doing these things.
This is really, really smart, because my initial reaction is obviously go to Indeed, go to Craigslist, along those lines. This sounds like I'm saying this for this video, but this is the first time Sally's actually told me this stuff. So this is really good. I'm going to go out and do this immediately.
one time I did a nice thing, and we owned, as you know, a big riding stable.
Mhm.
And I always had guys cleaning the stalls, and there were, you kind of get, the guys from Mexico were the very best with horses. There was a bunch of them in our area. They came from an area in Mexico where they dealt with horses. So they came to me, this guy's here, he's trying to get legal, but he's not, and he's got a family and he's hungry. Can you give him a little bit of work? And so I did. Son of a gun. The guy faked a back injury, turned me into workers' compensation, cost me $16,000. So I do not hire people who are not legal. It puts you in a terrible position. If you, for example, if you have a nephew, let's say that is 16 or 17 or 19, or for whatever reason hasn't been able to hold down a job, and you want to do something nice, be very careful. The only way it really works is to go to the family that's accountable for that person and explain, say, you know what, I have a job, but I'm not sure it's a fit. The last thing I want to do is try something, have it not work, and have there be any problem in the family. What do you think? Is it worth giving Johnny a shot at this? It's not a job everybody likes. So, you know, it may not work out for him. It may not work out for me. And if there's going to be any issues, I'm not even going to try it. So you get them on board, because the issues are going to be, how does he get to work? Does he show up for work? And if the family understands that, you know, he's got to meet the same requirements as everybody else. But if you don't do that, it gets really quickly into nasty territory. And it's, you know, an employee is not worth losing your relationship with your family.
That's a really good point. What's the biggest failure of a hire you ever made that you thought was going to be really good, that isn't this immigrant?
I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
I was part of recommending a hire, of interviewing and hiring for a legal firm, an attorney. And the person just, man, they just hit all of the marks. And we hired him. And then police and people kept showing up. We did not do a background check. It was an attorney firm. This person had been arrested for shoplifting and any number of things. And it all came to work with them. So it depends on, you know, if you're hiring a shipping clerk, you probably don't have too much to worry about that. But I was part of putting a person in a position with confidential records that had a history of, you know, not coloring in the lines. So that was probably the worst. And it was hard to get rid of them because I was new at this. I didn't set up the probationary period. They were so good. But remember that a sociopath is going to be the best candidate you're ever going to run into for your job. A sociopath.
That's why you're doing this with me.
Yeah, a sociopath looks you, immediately can see your insides, and says in their mind, tell me what you want and I'm going to give you what you need. Mm-hmm. And they become whatever you want. And so this girl was a sociopath. And she was able on short-term relationships. But I was, you know what? I had to go down to the county jail, and I just hated it. It smelled like pee.
Seriously.
And, oh God, and get her out of jail. So that's my worst. Well, listen, that thrift store is calling my name. I had to rush, and I'm going to go back down. So
go get it.
I will
get some
talk to you on
sweaters.
Monday.
Bye.
I'm going to have a fun weekend. Talk to you later. I don't want to discourage anyone from applying, but they need to understand that if you're hiring a house painter, one of the physical duties would be you have to be able to climb a ladder up to 30 feet. So, you know,
what in the world's a house painter?
House painter.
Painter.
You know, they make the house a different color, Thomas.
Yeah, sorry. So, it's like the what do you call it? The old accent.
Okay, or the young ear.
Okay, no. Well, I'm not set.
Oh, cool. That's free. We're having meatloaf today. All right, so I'm going to count 5 silently, and I'm going to tell you good morning. Maybe I better switch the camera.